Welcome back to Movie Recap. Today, I'll share with you a 1940 American fantasy film, Beyond Tomorrow. This film is also known as And So Goodbye and Beyond Christmas. The film is directed by A. Edward Sutherland and produced by noted cinematographer Lee Garmes. Because the events of the plot take place during the Christmas season, it is a contemporary but little remembered example of the Christmas film. Spoilers ahead! Watch out and take care. The film begins with a Benjamin Franklin quote. "I believe that the soul of a man is immortal and will be treated with justice in another life, respecting its conduct in this." It is Christmas Eve. Engineers George Melton and Allan Chadwick work furiously to complete a design on time. Michael O'Brien, the third partner in the firm, arrives with presents for all and kindly lets their employees leave. Michael gives Chad cigar pipes as a present. He gives a walking cane to George as he suffers from sciatica. George is not amused. Michael brings himself a cigarette dispenser, which plays music whenever it opens. Michael then tells George and Chad to come home for Christmas dinner. Back at their mansion, which they share with Madame Tanya, an elderly countess dispossessed by the Russian Revolution, she prepares for a dinner with prestigious guests. Tanya gives a precious gift to the butler who is helping her. The butler is obliged and thanks her. The three old men come home. They give a fur coat to the countess as a Christmas present. She is really happy to receive it. Michael helps her try it on. She thanks them for their kindness for all these years and goes to finish the preparations for Christmas dinner. The old men are delighted to see her admire herself in the mirror. The butler gives a telegram to Michael. He reads it and reveals that the guests have canceled at the last minute. George is convinced it is because of his dark past. Michael and Chad try to cheer him up by telling him that those days are over, but he isn't convinced. To relieve George's black mood, Michael comes up with an idea to obtain new guests for dinner. Each man throws out a wallet containing $10 and his business card into the street. They place a bet that whoever doesn't have their wallets returned by dinner time pays the other two. George's is found by Arlene Terry, who merely gives the money to her driver and discards the wallet. At the mansion, George and Chad have an argument over political topics. Michael tries to cool the heated conversation by shifting the conversation to his cigarette dispenser. The clock strikes 7, and George says that no one has come with the wallet. They prepare to go for dinner. Soon after, the doorbell rings. Michael opens the door, and a Texas cowboy, Jimmy, comes with his wallet. Michael invites him in for drinks. He tells them that this is his first Christmas away from home. He works at a steakhouse and is trying to make enough money to go back. He refuses to have dinner with them, but when Chad says that Jimmy is a young man who wouldn't want to have dinner with old men, Jimmy agrees to join them at dinner after this comment. Soon after, Tanya brings in Jean Lawrence, who brings Chad's wallet. Jimmy and Jean click at first sight. The three old men ask her about her dinner plans and she doesn't have any, so they ask her to stay for dinner and Michael tells them about their bet. They stay for dinner and soon become good friends with the three men and Madame Tanya. The musicians play in the street and Jimmy sings along. Michael is impressed with his voice and invites the band over to their house. The band comes in and Jimmy sings a beautiful song. George starts to calm down a bit. Jimmy finishes the song and everyone cheers. Then he suggests that they all sing together. Michael calls their servants to join in and they all sing Jingle Bells. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one-horse open sleigh. Hey! Jimmy and Jean also fall in love with each other, delighting the three men. They cheerfully leave. On his way out, Tanya gives Jimmy an overcoat, which he politely says isn't his. However, Tanya helps him wear it and says he has a nice tailor. Jimmy feels grateful and kisses her. Michael tells Chad that George gave his favorite overcoat to the cowboy. Jimmy and Jean have a date the next day. On their way to drop off Jean, Jimmy finds his horse that he brought to the city. It belongs to an officer. Jimmy asks the officer if he can ride it. The officer is reluctant as he may get in trouble if his sergeant sees someone riding his horse. Jimmy tells him that he was a cowboy and hasn't ridden a horse for a long time, so the officer allows him. Jean and the officer look out for the sergeant while Jimmy rides the horse. When the sergeant comes, Jean engages him in meaningless conversation while the officer brings Jimmy. When the sergeant sees Jimmy, he asks, "How was the ride?" They all get scared, but the sergeant tells the officer, "Merry Christmas." At her door, Jean tells Jimmy that she is a caretaker for sick children in a clinic. She tells him that she will see him the next day. The next day, the three old men with the butler and Tanya go to visit them at the clinic. Tanya tells a story to the kids. George plays drums with a kid. Chad plays trumpet, and the kids follow him. They have a great time. The journal pages of Michael show that they spend the New Year's with Jimmy and Jean. They have parties and fun all month. Jimmy sings at the piano while the three men doze off. Tanya thanks them both for making them so happy. When the engineers have to travel to another city on business, Madame Tanya begs Michael to take the train rather than fly. He assures her it is perfectly safe. That evening, Jimmy proposes to Jean and they kiss. Jimmy refuses a paperboy who offers him newspaper. He fails to read the paper where the headline reads, "Plane lost in storm in hills." Madame Tanya's premonition proves tragically correct when their aircraft crashes in a storm, killing all three. Tanya is devastated. The spirits of the three old men come back home. Tanya hears Chad knock his pipe on the fireplace. She comes there and tells the butler to carry on his routine as she dimly senses them. She says that she can't see them or touch them, but she knows they're there. When the three men realize that Tanya couldn't see them, they remember the incident and realize that they are dead. Chad says that he wonders what's next. Michael sarcastically asks George if he believes in afterlife now. When Jimmy and Jean come to announce that they are engaged, they receive the bad news. The three men see them crying but don't feel any grief. It turns out that Michael had bequeathed some bonds to the young couple so they could afford to marry. Madame Tanya asks Jimmy to stay at their mansion so the servants have someone to take care of. The story is picked up by the press. One of the reporters asks Jimmy if the three men were snobs, as people say. Jimmy says they were very generous and kind. He takes them for an interview, and as a result, Jimmy and Jean are invited to be a guest on a radio show. This is the opportunity he has been waiting for to showcase his wonderful singing voice. Jean encourages him to go for it and gets excited for him. She doesn't join him as she thinks she won't do so well. George's spirit doesn't approve of it, but Michael thinks it's a great opportunity. At the studio, Jimmy bumps into Arlene Terry, an established singing star. She wishes him well and gives him her card. Jimmy gets a singing slot for the evening transmission. He uses the studio's telephone to inform everyone of his performance, including Arlene. She is impressed by his performance. She had been wanting to replace her aging partner. She calls him after his performance, and her manager, Phil Hubert, offers Jimmy a starring role in her new show. He accepts. He comes to Jean only to tell her that he is going back for rehearsal for his new show. He says that he'll call her. However, with drinks at Arlene's place and discussions about their new show, Jimmy forgets to call Jean. He comes home drunk. The three old men talk about how he is losing his ways. George is summoned to leave the world. Michael begs him to repent before it is too late, but George refuses to be a hypocrite and walks away, amid thunder and lightning, into the darkness. Jimmy becomes very popular in very short time. He keeps on canceling on Jean. As Jimmy spends time with Arlene rehearsing, he becomes infatuated with her and neglects Jean, much to the distress of the ghosts, who are powerless to do anything. Meanwhile, it's Chad's turn to go. His son David comes to take him to heaven to be reunited with his wife. He accompanies him, and only Michael is left. Michael talks to Jean and tells her to get up and to go see Jimmy. He encourages her that Jimmy is worth fighting for. She gets up and goes to his mansion. At Arlene's house, she is talking sweetly to Jimmy. When Arlene's ex-husband bangs on the door, she has Jimmy leave by the back door. Before Jimmy leaves, she persuades him to take a 3-day break from work with her in the country. Jimmy encounters Arlene's ex-husband on his way out, and he tries to warn him of her arrogance. When Jimmy comes home to pack, Jean is waiting for him. He coldly tells her that taking a decision to marry her was too fast. Her heart is broken, and she leaves, not before telling him that she'll be there for him if he ever needs her. Michael talks to Jimmy, telling him to follow Jean. He goes to follow her, but the telephone rings. Arlene tells him that she'll be there to pick him up in 20 minutes. When Arlene leaves her apartment to meet Jimmy, her ex-husband is waiting. He needs her help to get back on his feet. However, she coldly brushes him off. When he tries to convince her of his love, she slaps him and leaves. Michael takes a final attempt by making Tanya persuade Jimmy not to go. Tanya tells Jimmy about the stories of Arlene and tries to stop him, but he goes anyways. When Michael is called, he refuses to leave Jimmy, although a voice tells him each person is summoned only once and that he will be doomed to roam the earth forever if he turns it down. He turns down his turn and follows Jimmy and Arlene. When Arlene and Jimmy stop by at a restaurant, the jealous, estranged husband follows and shoots them. Jimmy dies on the operating table with his spirit greeted by Michael. Jimmy sees Jean crying for him and feels sorry for his behavior. Michael tells him that Arlene had no soul to go forward with. Michael is called once again on the request of his mother. He then intercedes on Jimmy's behalf, pleading with a voice from above for a second chance for the young man. His wish is granted, and Jimmy returns to life. Doctors tell Jean of the successful operation, and she is relieved. Michael is reunited with a now repentant George who follows the light. Both are admitted into heaven, where they can hear Michael's mother's voice. The end. The movie has an interesting theory going on with the plot: life after death. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about it? Hit the thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe for more. See you soon.